Okay, Rama. Okay, got it. Thank you.
Namaste everyone. So let's all sit comfortably, back spine straight. Allow ourselves to settle down for the class. Be aware of your spine. Check how you feel. Is the spine tall? How is the base of the spine? How is the shoulder? How is your breath? As each breath goes in and out, feel the breath. Feel the quality of the breath. Feel grateful for the breath. Namaskara at the heart center. 3 rounds of Om with Prarthana. Breathe in. Om. Sahana vavatu, Sahanau bhunaktu, Sahaviryam karavavahai, Tejasvinavadi tamastu ma vidvishavahai. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om. Shri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om.
ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। ॐ नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतः चार्थेष्वभिज्ञं स्वराट् तेने ब्रह्महृदाय आदिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकम् सत्यं परं धीमहि सच्चिदानन्दरूपाय विश्वोत्पत्त्यादिहेतवे तापत्रयविनाशाय श्रीकृष्णाय वयं नमः। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। हरि ओम।
Hari Om.
So last class, this class, you wanted to say something, Prabha? You want to start? It's okay. Last class onwards, last couple of classes onwards, we were looking at the Shukha Stuti, and we looked at creation. That maybe this class and another class, the topics might seem a little more abstract in some way, or maybe like mathematics a little difficult for some. We feel maybe a bit like that. But it is also a part of the Bhagavatam, and when we immerse in it, we get a very, a grander vision, a bigger vision of who we are, where we are, and why we are here, and how are we here even, right? So all of this, we get a much bigger picture of our placement in this universe and in this life, among the people, among the family, everything. We get a much better picture of it. And hence it makes sense for us to dwell a little into it and allow our subconscious to take in as much as we can. It will get in and it will build on it slowly. So it's like more like a disclaimer, okay, in case everybody is feeling very, yo, Baba, this is too heavy kind. So then that was just more like a disclaimer, because it's given there with a purpose. So that's why. So I just thought I'll share the summary of what we did last class. So what happened in the last class was that you can see the screen, right? Okay. Now, Lord Parikshit has asked the question of how did this creation, how did this world appear? How did this universe appear? He asks those questions to Shukadev. And then Shukadev starts with the Shukha Stuti, pays his complete respect to the Lord. He says it's the Lord who is everything, who speaks through me, who speaks through everyone, who is the only reality. And that whole Shukha Stuti was praising the Lord. And after that, he says, this question was that you are asking was also asked by Naradji to Brahma. And then when Naradji asked Brahma, Brahma says, I did this whole creation. Naradji praises Brahma and he says, you don't even get tired. You have done so much creation, but you look so energetic and so this thing. How is that possible? And immediately Brahmaji, in his humility, he says, I was not able to create all this on my own. I created it because of the knowledge that was passed on to me from Narayana himself. And he goes on to talk about the creation to Naradji and says how the creation happened. And so I'm just here, the creation. So this whole Brahmanda, right? This whole Brahmanda that is created, he says it was Lord Narayana who created it first. And from the raw materials that he had created, I took it and then I was able to create it. So let us understand. So this is what we try. I had spoken through it, but I just put some pictures and some PPTs so that probably we'll have, when we have a visual, we will understand it a little better. So this whole Brahmanda that was, how does it happen now? A creation, say I want to cook. If I want to cook some dish, that final cooking has first come, that final cooking product has come through my actions. But before it became actions, it was there as a thought in my mind. That action itself, before it manifested, it was a thought in my mind. And that thought, where did it come from? It came from some desire or some memory within me, deep inside, which was first unmanifested. It has come from within me only. I know how to make sambar. It is there somewhere, and then it becomes, now I have to put sambar powder, I have to put tamarind, I have to put this. Everything has manifested from within, and then finally that creation has happened. So the gross manifest comes from the subtle manifest, and the subtle manifest comes from the unmanifest, which is that, within that deep sleep state. If you look at, this is the waking state, this is the dream state or the thought mind state and the deep sleep. It is the desire, memory, which is there, which I can't really see my memory. Can I? I mean, if only when it manifests in my mind, I know. Until then, it is lying there somewhere unmanifested. Just like the water. Water in its gross form is ice. Water in its subtler form is like a river or a ocean, and in its subtlest unmanifest form is like water vapor. You cannot see water vapor all around you, but the moment it cools down, it turns into water. Then it can if it freezes further, it becomes ice. So like that, just like this, it is when this whole Brahmanda is the vision of Bhagavan. Okay, so before this whole creation of this Brahmanda happened, it was there, it had manifested as a thought in the Lord's dream, in his Hiranyagarbha, in his mind, so to say. It manifested in his dream, in his Hiranyagarbha, the subtle cosmos in Hiranyagarbha. And where did that subtle thought come from? That came from the unmanifested form, which was in his yoga nidra state, the deep sleep state, his memory, his desire. It was there within him. So his deep sleep state, his dream state, his waking state is, and then in the waking state, his eyes are open and he is seeing this whole universe. And that universe, it is his creation, which came from him. And then finally, when he closes his eyes or it's time for annihilation, it goes back into him. The thoughts, it goes back into the Hiranyagarbha and then goes back into the unmanifested form. But throughout these three states, whose dream is it? Whose deep sleep is it? Whose waking state is it? Who is the constant in this whole thing, that unchanging constant in this whole thing? It is that Bhagavan, who is the Turiya, just like in Omkara. That silence, that Turiya, that witness consciousness is there throughout. So the Srishti, Sthiti, Laya. This whole Brahmanda is his creation from the unmanifest to the subtle manifest to the gross manifest state. So in the Yoga Nidra state, he is this Ranganatha, and finally comes out when he wakes up. The Brahmanda is created. And what is created as this Brahmanda? Everything, all the raw materials required. It has the buddhi, the creation is the buddhi, the aham, the ego, the manas, the jnanendriyas, the karmendriyas, the tanmatras. Tanmatras are the, shabda, rasa, gandha, which is the smell, the sense of smell, the sense of touch, the sense of sight, vision, the sense of hearing. All of those are created, and the Panchamahabhutas and the Sattva, Rajas, Tamas, all these qualities. There is an order for these. I'm not getting into that detail right now. But all of these are created by him. So these become the raw materials. And then the Jiva, the first Jiva, Brahma, for that Brahmanda is also created. Now, Brahma takes these raw materials and further creates the Brahmandas and all the Jivas as part of this Brahmanda. Okay, so this part of the first creation from Lord Narayana himself, from the greater Narayana, the first level of creation is called Sarga. And then from these raw materials, when Lord Brahma creates the same, he has the knowledge. Now he has this knowledge from Lord Narayana. He's received the knowledge from Lord Narayana. And when he goes on to create, that level of creation is called Visarga. So there are two levels of creation. And there are multiple Brahmandas. And for each Brahmanda, there is a Brahma. But all of these Brahmandas have come from that one supreme Lord Narayana. So in this Brahmanda, each Jiva is a part of his consciousness. In his waking world, we exist. This is his I. In his waking world, we exist. He is all around us. He is everywhere. He is in us. We are in him. He is not in us. We are in him. Imagine we are like those, like multiple atoms hanging in him. So can we say he is inside us? We are in him, having multiple holes. He's just there everywhere. His consciousness is there in every part of us. So he in the waking state is called the Virat or the Vaishvanaro, and he becomes our Paramatma within us, and we are the Jiva or the Jivatma. And he shines through us as our witness consciousness. This whole creation, Srishti, Sthiti, Laya, it keeps going through change. It's like a cyclic process. Om, stop. Om, stop. It is a completely cyclic process. It is ever changing. Oh, sorry. This world, like a pendulum, it goes this way, it goes this way. It's ever changing. This world is ever changing, but he shines through us as the witness consciousness, that awareness. So this world that we also are a part of, if my thoughts are pure, then the world I live in, full of satsanga. It is just satsanga, it's beautiful. If my thoughts are impure, dussanga, outside, right? So this world of creation that I have is ever changing, which are a result of my thoughts. So I can have one kind of thought now, I can have another kind of thought. But when in my awareness, it is unchanging. If I'm just watching outside, when I am a part of the pendulum, I am moving like this. But if I am this eye looking at this pendulum as an outsider, like it is happening on a stage, then there is nothing, no change for me. I am outside that change. I am not experiencing any change at all. This is dual in nature. If the pendulum goes this way, it has to go the other way. But here it is beyond the duality. Both are, everything is the same. This is bound by time. There is time, how long it goes to go this way, and then it has to come the other way. But the witness is beyond time, full of action in the world, but there is no action, just observing, just awareness. Action, reaction, but only alertness, complete alertness. Limited. There is only so far this can go based on the string that is here. But in witness his consciousness that is shining through us is unlimited and infinite. So when it is only he who is shining through all of us as our witness consciousness, and to talk about the state is where that Krishna, just to give that story, Lord Krishna, when he, earlier we had told the story of when Parikshit was born. Lord Krishna, when he was born, first he protects him from the Brahmastra when he was in the womb. But then when he takes when the baby is out, he doesn't cry. And Lord Krishna says, if I am a brahmachari, if I am truly a brahmachari, then may this child come up. So what is that? When he says he is a brahmachari, he had so many wives, he had so many children, he was doing full actions in the world, but through all his actions, he never moved away from his witness consciousness. He never got caught in this world of creation and his ego. And that is the state. He was unchanging. He had no action. He was alert, and hence that state is called the Sthita Prajna. Always in awareness. Sthita Prajna. Always in awareness. When we are in that state, there is no, it is like that Turiya, which is constant across all the creation. And that is immortality. When you know there is no change, you are just this. That is the mukti, that liberation that is spoken about. And hence this creation becomes important to understand. that greater reality. Hope this was okay. Anything anybody wants to share?
Just keep this, no? This is very nice. That
Or should
last
I?
slide.
I'll put it.
When she mentioned about the different atoms within Bhagavan, no? I was thinking in a very very gross level way, like a sabudana khichdi, sabudana paisam. So many sabudanas will be there in that ocean of milk. So we are all like that jiva, so many sabudanas there in that ocean, in that universe. So I was
There are
just-
some beautiful examples for this. You make a laddu. That laddu's essence, it is made up of so many motichur laddu. It has the same essence, the same taste. Every moti has the same essence as that of the whole laddu. Correct? So one is that even broccoli, the small broccoli, the florets, it is a part of that bigger floret. And then the final floret, they all have the same essence within them. Right? Yeah. So,
Nature
yata
is the best teacher.
brahmanda tata pindanda. Yes, Bala.
The before, because this is so beautiful. Actually, I remember. I don't know. This picture is wonderful. You know, the
Yeah.
eye of.
No?
So
He is the supreme seer.
I was remembering that. I think many might have gone through that WhatsApp message. It came in WhatsApp only many years back. So it is like when we look at this, right? We all are in that huge whatever, within Bhagavan. That witness, we call it Bhagavan, right? So that consciousness, the supreme consciousness is Bhagavan, right? So we are in him, right? He is that the one who is. That is why we say he's the one who's protecting. Yeah, we are like that small laddu, and he's the one who is keeping the laddu together, right? So, but yet, because of our individual identity, we do not experience the presence of Bhagavan, isn't it? It is like the entire thing, we all are there and he is surrounding. It's beautiful to imagine like that, right? So, I don't know, we can only imagine, but then the story goes like, in the womb, okay, there are two babies, twin babies, okay. So one baby says, hey, there is something called after life. Do you know? Look, it looks like we will go out of this place, and there's something called afterlife where we will live beyond. And the other baby says, nothing like that. We are here, okay, in this water, whatever, we both are here. This is our world. Yeah, he's like the thread. Yes. Manigana Iva. Krishna says, no, beautifully in Bhagavad Gita. Yes. So, then the other baby says, they say there's something called mother. I don't believe. Do you believe? Something called mother? Is there really? Look at the ignorance. That is how we all are, right? In his womb, right? And we are thinking, is there something called God? So the other baby says, of course, she is the one who is surrounding us. She's the one, we are in her, actually. Okay. So the mother, she's the one who is protecting us, who is nourishing us, because of whom we are even there. So she's then this baby says, I don't see, I just see this, some fluid and something, I don't see anything. The other baby says, you know what you need to do when you're very quiet? Are you able to hear some voice? When you're very quiet, you can hear some, sounds, vibrations. Those are mothers. That is mother. So what we need to do is just quieten ourselves and listen to that, that being who is there beautifully, always for us, thinking, always for our well-being, nourishing us and guiding. Actually, she is making us grow and getting us ready for our next journey. Okay, I'm just adding some masala. So these things, if we really look at it, we can extrapolate it so beautifully, right? That's how it is. The baby cannot see the presence of mother because it is beyond the baby's limited perception. Okay, whatever the baby can perceive in the womb, it is something unimaginable for the baby to, yet they feel the presence. Right? So similarly, we all feel the presence of Bhagwan. So when we feel it like this, it is not like, inside. Yes, there are few techniques given for our sadhana, okay, to focus on our hridaya, that all is there. But yet the reality is, he is just all pervading, the subtlest of the subtlest, and all pervading. He protects because it is his creation. It was from his own unmanifest, everything has manifested, and he is there, well-wishing for each one of us. So when we look at it that way, it is very beautiful. I just remembered that story.
And we are all pervaded by his consciousness. There's this other story which to show that we are all pervaded by his consciousness. In the Mahabharata, at the end, when Krishna, after the war, goes back to Hastinapura, and there first Dhritarashtra comes out, and when he hugs Bhima, they keep that statue of Bhima and he crushes it. And then this Lord Krishna does this. And then when they walk inside, Gandhari comes and she curses Lord Krishna and says, just like our whole clan has been destroyed, yours will also be destroyed. At that time, Lord Krishna tells, I want to show you something. And he takes her to the Kurukshetra war field. And there he gives her a special vision. And he says, I want you to see what is happening, what happened in the battlefield. And she sees that it was Krishna as Abhimanyu who was killed by Krishna as Karna Drona. It was Krishna as Duryodhana who was killed by Krishna as Bhima. It was Krishna as Dronacharya who was killed by Krishna as Arjuna. So what he says is, ultimately we are all a part of his grand reality, this grand design. He is the substratum, he is moving everything, the action is his. We have merely borrowed from him. Just imagine, this whole cosmos is so huge, and Brahma says an infinitesimally small part I have got. Now in that, we have got one infinitesimally smaller part. So just imagine how small a speck we are in this whole universe, and all of this is like that Laddu Bala told, no, is all bound together by this thing. Like that, he has bound us all together and he is making things play. So, but what is my role? We will look at it eventually in this whole thing.
Yeah, when we were discussing with, I don't know, a few weeks back with my children, it was, so that means to say, don't we have any role at all?
Yeah, that's what.
Okay, so a nice example came up, as part of the discussion. So I thought it would be nice to share. It is like, when we write the software program. Okay, so when we write the software program, it is a huge software. It is meant to do something, lot of functions in it. Okay, so the purpose of that and many functions are there in that. But each and every comma and a full stop is essential. Okay, I am like one comma. Maybe you are like one full stop. The other person is like one parenthesis. Okay, but if that is not there, also the software can crash. Okay, so very beautifully Raghuramji says, yes, drops of the water forms the river. Yeah, we all are the drop of water only. Okay, but every drop contributes to the river. That is what it is. It is like, yeah.
Just like in our body, we have all come from that one single cell. That cell multiplied, some became skeleton, some became lungs, some became whatever. And so each of these parts are made up of multiple cells, right? Now, each cell, if it is a part of the lung, it has to do its job as a part of a lung. It has to do, if it doesn't, it becomes cancerous and it can be expelled or whatever. Each one has to do its job. There is from that single, the plurality came. From that one, even in that, that plurality came. Now, each of that plurality is powered by that consciousness, because of which it is working, and they all work in tandem because of that consciousness. That is the intelligence, which is governing.
In all that plurality, there is a singularity.
There is a singularity.
Yeah. Very beautiful. We need to identify with that singularity.
Yes.
In the next slide, very beautifully Vashi has given that witness, which is unlimited. Another example they say is this, right? This unchanging example is like the sun. Okay, sun is there, always watching. It is just there, okay, but nourishing. If there are many buckets of water kept, yeah, there are reflections of the sun in all the buckets of water. Okay, so this is just the reflection. So if we all are like that buckets of water, if we identify with this bucket, if I think I look for who is illuminating this piece of water, and I see one reflection there, and I think, oh, this is what is illuminating me. Okay, and I identify with this little reflection, this little jiva, which is actually there because of the sun. Okay, and it is only reflection, it is not even real. So our little egos are like that, that is why. And this bucket water can get evaporated after some time, or the bucket can get broken. It is all bound by time. Okay, whereas the sun is ever not beyond all this, and it is beyond time. It is there, it doesn't act, just with its nature, just being in nature. It is nourishing the entire, that is one other example which came up.
Move on. Anything else? Anybody wants to share something? Has any questions before we move on? Okay.
Just to conclude, I thought his beautiful, wait, where did the page go? It's gone. Guruji writes, whatever Aarti has explained as a summary. It's very nice to just read from his words. Says this entire cosmos we perceive, and he's talking about Brahmanda. Okay, we perceive was formerly a subtle thought, and before that it was unmanifest. We saw, right? Beyond the unmanifest is that Lord, the Turiya, who is attributeless, without any distinctions, the nature of consciousness, the highest truth, the supreme self. Beyond does not mean he is not in all this. Okay, he is there through and through, but he is beyond this. Okay, in that non-dual state. Which non-dual state? In that state of Lord, in that state of Bhagavan, there is no creation. That's what she had put, no action. Just there. When that Supreme Lord appears to be identified, so these are very, appears to be identified. So the same Lord chooses to be identified with the unmanifest. He is referred to as Ishvara. So it is the Lord himself who is referred to as Ishvara when that identification is the unmanifest. So it's the same singularity. When creation manifests in subtle form with reference to that creation, which means when it comes to that Hiranyagarbha level, Lord is called Hiranyagarbha. Okay, there is nothing new which has cropped up. Lord in the unmanifest as Ishvara, Lord himself in the subtle is Hiranyagarbha, and Lord in gross form is Virata. We saw that Virata Purusha, right? How we did that meditation also. We see Lord everywhere. Yeah, so it is Bhagwan himself. It is like he himself is showing in different forms. Yeah.
So we will move on to Chatushloki.
Yeah.
1 second. Just hold on. Yeah. Can you see the screen?
Yeah.
So this is again Brahmaji tells Narada these 4 very, very beautiful verses, and these 4 verses itself kind of gives the essence of the entire Bhagavata itself. So that is why it is called as Chatushloki Bhagavata.
In fact,
Yeah.
Brahmaji, when he tells it to Narada, he says, Lord Narayana had told Lord Brahmaji the whole process in just 4 shlokas.
Yes.
He had completely. Yes.
So here, I just wanted to beautifully, say how Tejamayanandaji had written very nicely. What is the first verse about? What is the second verse about? So that when we are trying to explain, so that it also helps all of you to understand. So this slide is all about the first verse is about the nature of Brahman. The second is about the nature of Maya. The third is about the nature of the world. And the fourth one, the means to attain Brahman. So, how is that? So, very beautifully, these 4 verses are there. Imagine 18,000 verses, it is actually condensed in the form of a very beautiful 4 verses. So, if we chant, it's supposed to be like if we chant this every day, it is supposed to be very, very helpful for us to be in connection with the truth itself. So, that is how it is. 1 second. Oh, sorry. So we'll do the first one. So we'll take chances like that. I, Aarti and Bala. Ahameva samevagre nanyat yat sadasatparam paschadaham yadatte cha yo vashishyeta sosmyaham. Once more. Ahameva samevagre nanyat yat sadasatparam paschadaham yadetacha yo vashishyeta sosmyaham. It's a very beautiful verse actually. So here aham eva asam eva agre. So very, very beautiful way here is I alone am. I alone was. That's a very very profound statements. You know, some people, we say, right, aham brahmasmi. So they are all like very, very profound statements here. And Bhagavan is beautifully telling Brahmaji that I alone am, I alone was. So was, what does it indicate? So that is here, that is before the creation itself, Bhagavan was existing there. So it's like so very, very beautiful, because I think Aarti very beautifully took us, right, the journey of the creation. That is before Brahma, before all the raw materials were there itself, that there was Bhagavan there. There was Bhagavan beautifully sitting in that Yoga Nidra state. So so I alone was. I alone am. There is present, was, so all in one. So this sentence itself is very, very profound there. And here aham, I think all of us know what is aham means: self, the Brahman, the unchanging, the omnipotent, the omnipresent entity, the supreme personality of Godhead, which Prabhupada ji beautifully says. And na sat na asat, that is also very very beautiful here. Na, that is the truth is neither gross. It's not like I can catch this book and say that yeah, it's a gross material, yeah, so this is Bhagavan. So it's like, Hiranyakashipu telling Prahalada, where is he, tell me, where is he tells like that, right? So and how does Prahalada says, he is there in every living creature, he is there in everything what you look around, he is there. So that sentence is beautiful of Prahalada when he talks. So that is where here it is na sat na asat, that is na is neither gross, neither subtle, is neither tangible. So such very very beautiful this first one is. And here I just thought of sharing here is, if you all think that this is the universe that is there present here, and how that Bhagavan is there. Bhagavan is I alone was. So I alone was there. And then imagine, then from the Bhagwan's navel the lotus stalk came. It's also a limb. It's part from coming from a limb of Bhagwan. It's also coming from the body part of Bhagwan, that lotus stalk. So it is coming from within Bhagwan itself, that lotus stalk. Within that lotus stalk, Brahma is there. So Brahma is part of Bhagwan. From Brahma, then there were other things, raw materials were created. Then from Brahma and the raw materials, the creation was done. So imagine then finally from where the source was beautifully from the Bhagwan itself. And so we are all created very beautifully. And who created? Brahma created with raw materials. But who was the supreme person that the president is telling Prime Minister put this law? So who's telling? Finally the president is telling, or the Prime Minister is telling Chief Minister, I want to make sure that lockdown is done. Who's telling? So we have to know the primary source there. And so that's why this the second part of the shloka is, that is paschadaham yade tacha yo vashishyeta sosmyaham. Even now what you are seeing before you is me. So we have tons of people. We see everyone around here. We have 18 people here. Everywhere you are seeing before you is me only. And when this creation become unmanifest, that is, it even goes into the laya state, or even goes into the sthiti state, or whatever state, I alone will remain. So this is a profound verse itself about to know the nature of Brahman. So there is where I thought just an example, again an analogy. Okay. Yeah. So here, what do you see here? So if you can, because this is what do you see here, everyone? What do you see? Please put in the chat. So be explicit in your thing. What do you see in this thing, this picture? Because this is very beautifully spoken by Chinmayananda ji, Gurudev ji. So anyone would like to share? Say anything? What all do you see in this picture?
Colors.
Color. Okay. What is it? What do you see? Colors. Okay. Then?
Clothes.
Okay. Yeah. Designs. Yeah. Design is there. Color is different. Design is there. You see the design. You see the cloth. Correct. Yeah. Great. Thank you. Cloth with thread design. Wow. You're coming on. Colors are different. Pattern is the same. Flowers with colors. Okay. Great. Excellent. Okay. So now we know that this cloth is there. This cloth has different designs. But finally, this cloth, how did this cloth come from? How did it come from? So whether it was the design or the pattern or the cloth is coming from that thread. So that thread helped in making either the design or that entire cloth. So can we say that the cloth can exist without the thread? No, obviously no. Can we say that the pattern can exist without the cloth? How can it be in mid-air? No. So the pattern is in the cloth and the cloth is made of the thread. So very, very beautiful there. So, okay. So we can say now that the thread is, because of the thread, this is there. So Chinmayananda ji beautifully talks about here. I think I forgot which book was that, but I just happened to see that correct beautifully last week. So he says, you should think that this cloth is like Jagat. cloth is like Jagat. So, and the cloth in the Jagat, these flowers are like the people, are like the mountains. You could think of different things. Every design there, it's like the mountain or the ocean or whatever. Or you could think of different jivas in the Jagat. You could think of different ways. But from where this Jagat came, from where this cloth came, it is because of that thread, right? So that is where he beautifully says, Ishvara Sarva Bhutanam. I sit in the heart of everybody. Like a thread in a garland, I penetrate through every form and hold them together, like Annapurna written very beautifully, right? So that thread is so important. Now, very interesting part, right? So without the thread, there would have been no pattern nor cloth. So where would this Jagat be without Bhagavan, right? So I think that became very clear. Now, what is the cause of this thread? Suddenly the thread came from somewhere. Does it exist by itself? What is the cause? Something you suddenly the thread does not come. Suddenly the raw material did not come into this creation, right? Suddenly you say the sense of touch, sense of hearing, panchabhutas and all. What is this? What is this thread? Did it exist by itself? So where did this thread come from? Can you? It's a very logical answer, but even then, please tell. Where did this thread come? Aarti and Bala, you only unmute and tell me.
From cotton.
Yeah, that's you're right.
Okay.
From cotton. So the thread came from cotton, right? So without the cotton, the thread cannot happen. Without the thread, this Jagat and this planet. So who is Brahma there?
Yeah. The cloth is the
Thread.
Brahma and the cotton is him.
Cotton is, yeah.
Yeah, you could say so many beautifully. Yes, very beautiful. That's so, and the Jagat there. So this is why I associated with. He talked about other beautiful things. I came to this here. So what is the relationship?
Maybe we
Yeah.
can say cotton as Ishvara. I'm just saying. Thread as Hiranyagarbha.
Yes.
And the clothes as Virat.
That's it. I was actually thinking that very yes. So it's so beautifully he had written it. So finally he was saying that what is the relationship between Jiva and God now? It is a relationship between the cotton and the pattern. So can the pattern exist without the Jagat? Can the Jagat exist without the thread? Can the thread exist without the cotton? So the cotton is there, which is the essence of that. And that is how we need to feel the nature of Brahman itself, nature of the aham, naham. I alone am, I alone was. So that is where I felt that this picture there, it helps us to understand that we have the candle, but the lit candle only is like everyone's. If you see everyone, it is all the forms of Narayana, the forms of Bhagavan himself. So many of us are there. So everyone we see are like the forms of Bhagavan. Everyone has that light there. You should feel that there is a beautiful light within everyone there. It's like a bulb or a light. I didn't get a picture of bulb, so I thought of a candle. So it's like, if we think like that, and it's like that story we remembered last so many times. You have seen, it's like in an ashram when somebody said that there is an incarnation of Vishnu right in your ashram, and if suddenly the mindset changed in everyone, that because they looked at everyone as Bhagavan Vishnu itself. So when we think like that, then we absolutely understand the reality, the true or the supreme reality, or the truth, the Brahman. So Chinmayananda ji beautiful says, then our pursuit of life is the pursuit of the truth within that cotton. So where is that cotton? So look at that cotton rather than the pattern. Is the pattern good? Is that pattern good? This pattern is not good. So finally you have to go to the cotton, like Bala said, finally in that two babies thinking about sitting in that ocean of that fluid inside the mother's womb, thinking within whose womb the babies are, like that. So I try to hope I did justice to this first shloka.
Very nice. So when we know that it is only he is who is the reality, Brahmaji makes a very good statement when you know that it is my speech never delivers false teachings. My speech, my mind does not go towards anything false. My sense organs never go on the path of the unreal, because I have seated the Lord in my heart. Because somewhere, the other example, I'll just quickly, there is this other, it's like, I am like that color which has come from that one white light. Without that white light, I don't exist. The colors don't exist. Can the colors say I at all if the white light doesn't exist? They have all come from, the colors have come from that white light and finally go back. The rainbow, when the sun is shining, there is light everywhere. The rainbow appears. Where did it appear from? It appeared from that white light. And then it disappears. Where does it disappear? It goes back into the same white light. But what's the white light there? Even before it appeared and after it appeared? Yes, it was there. Correct? So that was another example I was thinking of. And the way, because Bhagavan is so difficult to describe, right? Or say, they use this neti, na iti, the negation, na sat, na asat. Neither the gross nor the subtle. It's so, and there's so much, not my mind, not the body, not my emotions, not my feelings. Is none of this, because all that is a part of the pendulum. When you are in this motion, in this samsara, that pendulum keeps happening. And my emotions go up, come down. My actions do this. But he is not any of that. Na sad, na asad, not the gross, because all this is in the gross world or in even in our mind. He's not that, but he is neither of these, which is separate, beyond all of this, like that cotton. Very nicely put.
Very beautiful. The next one you go, no, Prabha. I was remembering one very nice story.
This one?
Yeah. So, you said something, what? He is neither. Yeah. For that one statement, which I heard, it was so profound. And then we will go to this. So, neti, right, is the principle with which we are negating everything else. And the one that is finally just there is Bhagavan, or is me, whatever, self. So in Yoga Vasishta, Vasishta tells to Rama, Bhagavan, he says, and the same thing Rama says later to Lakshmana also in Tulsi Ramayana, I think. So he says, all that comes in your chitta, okay? Chitta vritti nirodha, we say, no, in our chitta. All that is there in chitta, okay, is matter. That is in our experience, which is not thought of, okay, which does not come into our chitta. See, my thoughts is in chitta. Am I in the chitta?
When I say my thoughts are in the chitta itself, it means it is separate from me. I am separate from it.
Yes. No, I'm separate from that. And it is not, but I am not in the, we don't think about ourselves in that sense. I'm not, the moment the thought comes in, then it becomes chitta. That is different. That is why even this, when I'm thinking about myself, means my personality, all that is also not me, we say. Okay, so that, I don't know if I did justice to the statement. Somehow yesterday when I was reading, it was so profound. I was like, oh my God, okay. Anything that is in our experience is not, thought of. It doesn't, it's our experience. See, we all are present here, right? This presence, this consciousness, this presence. We don't think about our present. I'm present. No, the presence is just there. So that is us. That witness, the sakshi, that presence, this in the now, right now. But all the rest is okay. So okay, we'll move on. So like what he very beautifully it's written here, right? Even now, what you're seeing. So he was there before. Yeah. Even now, what you are seeing before you is me. This is our sadhana. Like beautifully Prabha has put. When I see the fabric, to turn the attention to the cotton. Okay, that's all is our sadhana. Isha Vasya Midam Sarvam, when he says that Rishi is actually expressing his realization there. He says, oh, whatever I see is just covered by Isha. It's just covered by God, meaning, so that was the vision. So for Gandhari, Krishna gives that vision, the story that Aarti was narrating. So Krishna is giving that vision to Gandhari so that she's able to see that cotton in the fabric. So all of us, we are caught up with this fabric because I am also in this level, this Upadhi level. So one story where the monk is asking his guru, okay, I am, whatever you say, okay, God is everywhere, he is the substratum, you say everything, but I am not able to see him. I am seeing only the name and the form, isn't it? That's how we all are. We are seeing the name and the form. Yes, that light, all these things are reminders for us to get back to. So beautifully Prabha put that, that candles, so that we start seeing, oh, Krishna in Prabha is talking to Krishna in Aarti, something like that. Okay, we have to bring our mind to that. Otherwise, we are so used to getting carried away with. So he says that, and then the monk says, okay, so where are you going now? The guru asks. The monk says, I'm going to see a movie. I don't know if I'm telling it correctly. I'm just, okay, the essence grab. So he says, okay, watch it and come back. So the monk goes, watches and comes back. So the monk asks, the guru asks, so what did you see first before the movie started? He said, yeah, there was just a plain screen. Then he said, okay, during the movie, oh, the movie was fantastic. So many characters, something he describes about the movie. Okay, beyond that, did you see anything? The monk was thinking. So that is the sadhana. So he said, that screen was there even when the movie was getting played. So we, as this limit, when we are identified with this limited body, mind, intellect, the monk was able to see the movie. But if the monk was able to be in touch with that screen also, yes, as the movie is getting played, that is what is the sadhana. So the guru says that is what it is. The screen was there before, the screen was there in front of you even when you were watching the movie, but you forgot. So like that, we have forgotten he is there. But I think...
yesterday, I was listening to one Swami Kripalu Maharaj. Okay, and he was talking about Rup Dhyan, the importance of Rup Dhyan in this context. Sometimes for us, this abstract, this witness consciousness, if we find it difficult to be staying in that. So what he was telling is, right now we are caught with the world because these eyes are caught with the world, the mind is caught with the world. But even though the eyes are looking outside, if the mind has turned inwards and is looking at the Lord can be in any form. You choose your Ishta Devata. Okay, now what will happen is, you have an Ishta Devata, now you are creating your image. So you know that this is the reality. You have an Ishta Devata, and that Ishta Devata, you see it in your mind again and again. So now, even though your eyes are looking outside, even though you're speaking everything, what is happening? The mind is always holding the image of this Lord, training to that level. Then what happens? This becomes the superimposition on anybody, and you see this Ishta Devata in everybody. Right? So that was one way. So the mind is always seated in the Lord, in Bhagwan, who is in my heart. So even though I'm seeing the world outside.
I think before, am I unmuted?
Yes, you are.
Okay. So when we are moving on to the second shloka, this is where the story of Neti Neti told by Ramakrishna Paramahamsa comes. We have told this before, but in this context, there was one lady who got newly married, and then after some months or something, she's coming back to her hometown. So usually during the marriage, nobody gets to see the groom properly, because they will be having all this pagada, all those things and all that. So finally, many in her relative side has not seen the groom. So now the girl, the bride has stayed in the house for a long time, and the bridegroom, the husband has come to pick her up. So he's come with a set of his friends. So you can consider the scene that lot of his friends and the husband is sitting there, and inside the room, it's a conservative family, so the women do not come out. So inside the room, in a small window, all the women in the house have crowded along with the bride to say that, to see who is the bride, who is this guy who has married our girl of the house. And each time they point at 111 person. So you could think that 111 person is that distractions we see in this world, right? 111 person. Is this the person? She said, no. Is this the person? No. Neti, neti. Neti, neti. So very beautifully Ramakrishna Paramahamsa says, neti, neti. Neti. So lot of people. And suddenly one person was pointed and she just remained quiet and she just smiled. And everyone understood this is the person. So the moment we know that we are in touch with Brahman, we are in touch with reality, we are already in a very silent, very beautiful, in that state of samatvam. So you don't need to say anything, you don't need to point out anything, because we already know, we are stabilized ourselves, we are in that sthiti state. So that is what he says there. Before, I thought we move on to, the second one.
Do we move on?
Yeah.
7:20. It's okay.
Oh, okay. Time.
Should we just do it next class? If
Yeah.
you want to do it in detail.
Yes, yes. Anyone wants to share anything? I'll stop the share 1 second. Does anyone want to share anything about today's session? Or any doubts or anything?
Or your takeaways or feelings, anything.
Yeah.
How are these sessions feeling for you? I know it's not so story.
No, it's really nice. Especially the stories that you come across in between, just adds to the flavor so beautifully. So I am to enjoying every bit of it. Thank you so much. I mean, like, very relaxing and very soothing. Maybe we don't understand the many of it, but then all the stories that you are saying just adds to so beautifully to each and everything that you're talking about. So, thank you so much.
Thank you.
When Anuradhaji was talking about understanding, no? Actually, this Chatushloki Bhagavatam is given as just 4 shlokas by Lord Narayana to Brahmaji. Okay. But that is expounded in 18,000 verses by Shukamuni in Bhagavatam for us. Shukamuni, and then later Vedavyasa has even more, I think, as a narration, lot of things he has added. In spite of so many things, we need so many commentaries also and so many readings for us to absorb even a little of what is happening. But even a little, if we are able to absorb that, I think brings in a lot of changes in us. That it moves, like, the intellect turns towards Bhagavan. Understanding Samatvam.
Yeah, before it is in the form of a sutra, like a beautiful thread. And then there is a lot of expansion. Stages by stages, there is so much of expansion there, right? I just thought, before, one nice story to end, I just came across today, just to feel Bhagavan. So it's just that there was this man, some name. Okay, we'll keep him as Bola Ram. Okay, so he's Bola. Okay, like that. And he was in a lot of trouble. So he was having a lot of trouble in his life. He found that whatever he is doing is not coming out well as his expectations. So he goes to a Swamiji. Swamiji told him, see, I think you lack devotion. You need to go to market, buy a nice beautiful statue of Rama, who looks really very beautiful, put it in a very nice corner of the room. Every day, burn the incense sticks properly, and 1,008 flowers Shraddha, you do the puja properly. Chant 1008 Shri Ram, Shri Ram, Shri Ram. Every day if you do for 365 days, everything will set right. So absolute, he wrote everything in a paper, what all to be done. Went, brought Rama, put him into a nice table. Every day, without fail, as written in the paper, correctly he used to do. And every day he was expecting something good will happen, something good will happen. And every day at the end of the day, he used to feel very depressed. What is this? Nothing good happened today. Okay, 365 days got over. And suddenly he just realized, what is this Rama Bhagavan? Nothing happened well. He felt very, very upset about it. Rama didn't do anything. So he went to another Swamiji. That Swamiji said, Arey, Rama is Treta Yuga. He is little old. Oh, older generation. Bring Krishna. Bring the statue of Krishna. And he gave one steps. So he understood, now I have to bring Krishna. Okay. So he brought a nice Krishna statue. He gave some Krishna, some stotra was said, everything. So what happened is he burned the incense stick. Now this Rama was there, so he had to remove the Rama, no, because he's very angry with Rama. Rama did not do as he said, and he is now old generation. Already the conviction has happened. So he pushed Rama's idol in next to a window side. There was one small table. He kept Rama there and put Krishna in this place. He burned the incense stick. But what happened? The incense stick, whatever you call it, that vapor or whatever you call it, it was going towards the window. And who was receiving that? Rama was receiving. Suddenly he saw that the perfume or the fragrance is going to Rama and not to Krishna. And he was very, very upset. How can Rama receive this? And his Krishna, now I am sitting and praying to Krishna. Because why? Because I have to get what I want in life. And immediately he went, took 2 cotton buds, put nicely into the nostrils of Rama, thinking that he should not get it. Okay. And immediately, the moment he put it, suddenly Rama came right in front of him. He had the vision of Rama. And he was absolutely flabbergasted. Huh? Oh, Rama, you have come. What happened? All these days you did not come. And now I am praying to Krishna. So you looks like you're jealous, huh? Or you wanted to prove that you are better than Rama, you're better than Krishna. So you have come. I am not understanding why you are coming now. All these days I did everything. 1008 japas I did. 1008 flower, the puja I did. And you did not come. And now I am giving importance to Krishna. So you're coming. Rama just smiled and said, only now you realize that I am a conscious being. You fed so beautiful. So only now you realize that I am a conscious being, and you stuffed my nostrils with cotton thinking that I will not get it. All this while I was just an object, and now I am a conscious being. When you realized it, I am here right in front of you. So this story is so touching and so profound. I just felt it is so wonderful. Anything you want to share here, Aarti and Bala?
Small thing, actually. I'm remembering, this is not a story, but very beautifully when Prabha told, I remembered that a Ramana to Ramana Maharishi. Okay. So this is just carefully listen. It is a very profound thing that he is saying. Someone comes and asks, what is this? They say, people talk to idols of God, Murti. Really is Murti God? It's just a form, no? Because he is beyond all this, and they say Murti talks to them also. They are talking to Bhagavan. How is that possible? So Ramana asks, are you not surprised how you are talking? What is the difference between that Murti and my body and mind? Whatever I am thinking I am, it is the same. So who is talking? Again, going back to that supreme consciousness, which is powering that Murti also. And that Murti become the God choose. We saw, Sattva Murti. For the Bhaktas, God chooses to manifest through any Murti. So for me to talk, it is the same thing. If I am, this is also a jada, right? This is also an inert matter. And if this is talking, why a Murti cannot talk? So it was very profound,
Yeah.
I'll finish with a song.
Yeah.
Hey, we will just say we are all Agyanis at this point in time. Okay. So may the Agyana move, and we maybe intellectually we are understanding, maybe something, but still we are caught in this Maya. We are caught in this changing world. One day I like one sweet, I eat too much of it, I don't like it. So that, or I like I love one person and I adore that person, and then I go there and I live for a little while with that person, then I start seeing all the negative qualities and I'm like, oh, this person is like this, that all that adoration has gone, right? So this world is ever changing. So as long as my mind is on this world, one day it will rock like this, it will go like this, one day it will go like this. I like this kind of person, then I hate another kind of person. So all of this will be there. So may my mind rest on him so that this Agyana is, and we pray to Lord Saraswati, the goddess of knowledge, to give us this jnana. हे शारदे मां, हे शारदे मां, हे शारदे मां, हे शारदे मां. It's a simple song, you can repeat if you want. अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे मां, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे मां. तू स्वर की देवी है, संगीत तुझसे, तू स्वर की देवी है, संगीत तुझसे, हर शब्द तेरा ये हर गीत तुझसे, हर शब्द तेरा ये हर गीत तुझसे. मन से हमारे मिठा दे अंधेरा, मन से हमारे मिटा दे अंधेरा. हमको उजालों का संसार दे मां, हमको उजालों का संसार दे मां. हे शारदे मां, हे शारदे मां, हे शारदे मां, हे शारदे मां. अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे मां, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे मां. ऋषियों ने समझे, मुनियों ने जाने, ऋषियों ने समझे, मुनियों ने जाने, वेदों की भाषा पुराणों की वाणी, वेदों की भाषा पुराणों की वाणी. हम भी तो समझे, हम भी तो जाने, हम भी तो समझे, हम भी तो जाने. विद्या का हमको अधिकार दे मां, विद्या का हमको अधिकार दे मां. हे शारदे मां, हे शारदे मां, हे शारदे मां, हे शारदे मां. अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे मां, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे मां, अज्ञानता से हमें तार दे मां. May we all move from avidya to vidya. Oh, asato ma satgamaya, tamaso ma jyotirgamaya, mrityorma amritam gamaya. Sarve bhavantu sukhinah, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत्। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः। हरिः ओम्। श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। हरिः ओम्।